Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government whether it will review its relationship with LGBT Youth Scotland in light of reported allegations regarding safeguarding failings.
Minister Colcab-Stewart.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I would also like to mark the passing of Councillor McLean, who was the councillor within my constituency of Glasgow, Kelvin, and a friend. With regards to the question, I thank Megan Gallagher for her question. The Scottish Government have engaged with LGBT Youth Scotland to determine the facts around the recent media reports, and we have determined that no further action is needed at this stage. I refer the member to LGBT Youth Scotland's recent statement that reinforces how they have strengthened their safeguarding policies over the last 5 years to ensure they are in line with the legislation and also meet national standards. The organisation continues to review their safeguarding policies annually to ensure they are as comprehensive as possible.
Megan Gallagher.
Children in Need, who awarded LGBT Youth Scotland £181,000 over the last 5 years, have decided to withdraw their funding. The BBC said its charity had immediately suspended the grant after conducting a thorough review in response to concerns that's been raised by the BBC and others. This comes after the Mail published a damning investigation of LGBT Youth Scotland, where former Chief Executive James Rennie was jailed for horrific child sex assaults after he was unmasked as a member of one of Britain's worst ever paedophile rings. I've raised concerns about LGBT Youth Scotland in this very chamber, the guidance they provide to and the guidance that they provide to children and young people regarding safeguarding. Yet another scandal has now emerged that convicted paedophile Andrew Easton co-authored a guidance with LGBT Youth Scotland on coming out as transgender for children as young as 13. So, if there's no further case to be answered, Minister, why have these safeguarding failings taken place in the first place? Why is Children in Need removed their funding? And why is the Scottish Government not agreeing to conducting, at the very least, a review into LGBT Youth Scotland regarding what's happened in recent times?
Minister.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. The member has raised several points which I am not able to answer in such a short time. However, I would be happy to put further comments in writing. However, we are committed to advancing equality and supporting LGBTQI and young people, including through funding of LGBT Youth Scotland. This is particularly important at a time when we are seeing a rise in attacks against the LGBTQI community. I would also like to point out that LGBT Youth Scotland are not under any criminal investigation. Recent media reports related to a convicted individual who was a young person when he attended the charity in 2009, but was not a volunteer or a paid employee.
Thank you. Brief supplementary. Emma Roddick.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. It's so important that children and young people have somewhere that they can go to expect care, safety and advice, even if, sadly, that is not at home. What is the Scottish Government doing to support LGBTQ young people and ensure that they grow up feeling supported?
Minister.
I thank Emma Roddick for that answer and for the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to doing everything we can to make sure that Scotland is the best place to grow up for LGBTQI plus young people. This is particularly important, as I said, as we are seeing a rise in attacks against that community. We are providing £290,870 worth of funding to LGBT Youth Scotland for 2024-25 through our Equality and Human Rights Fund to deliver a range of projects to support LGBTQI plus young people. We've also made significant progress in embedding LGBTQI plus inclusive education across the curriculum rather than in specific LGBTQI plus lessons to improve the learning environment for all children and young people.
Thank you.